Okay, so part two. We've got this little ceiling to do, which is, it actually looks bigger than what it is. There's only 25 boards in it, and bear in mind there's two of us, so that's basically 12 and a half boards each, which isn't a lot for a plasterer to do. The only problem with it is, it's high, and we haven't got enough scaffolding to do the whole room, so we're gonna have to split it up. We're gonna get that bit done, move down, put some accelerator in the plaster, and get this little bit here done. And when we do that, I'll show you the simple way to blend the two ceilings together. We started off by getting enough water and bags of plaster up onto the scaffolding. The first thing we want to do is mix enough plaster for the first coat. So we're going to mix up 4 bags at once in this big bucket. You always put water in first and add powder to the water. You're never to put the powder in before the water. When you're gauging how much to use, one builder's bucket full to the top is roughly 1 bag of plaster, but if it's slightly thick you can adjust it by adding more water. And that's the consistency you're looking for, a bit like thick custard. So the first thing we do is to damp down our tools. The last thing you want is to put wet plaster on dry tools. The suction from the dry tools will cause the plaster to start to set and stick to your equipment. Trying to plaster in between wires with a trowel that is razor sharp is a little bit difficult. The last thing you want to do is nick a wire, but with a little bit of practice and patience, you get quite good at it. This job's been prepared for us by another plasterer. He's been round and put all the scrims over the joints. Now what tends to happen is when you leave scrims up for a while, they fall down. And as well, the joints were tapered on the plasterboards, because some plasterboards are like that. So he's gone round and filled all the tapered sections out to give us a nice flat ceiling to skim. But when you fill them out, the dry plaster causes high suction. So he's then gone and got some pink SBR and sealed all the dry spots. So this is a lovely job for us to do. And he's set the scaffolding up. There's no complaints from us. What we've got on here?
Yeah.
We can first and second it with what's in this bucket. These blue plasterboards are sound block boards, and there's 2 layers of these. Above this room, there's another function room.
Without falling off the engine.
To help with the soundproofing, both layers of these plasterboards are screwed to a metal frame, which is then suspended, and it's on rubber washers, and that's to stop the noise passing through the vibrations. So it's important that we don't plaster and tie it into the walls. A lot of guys like to do the ceilings first before the walls. The thinking behind it is, when you're doing a ceiling, if you're dropping stuff, you're dropping plaster all down the walls. But, I mean, we're not spilling much, so we're okay. It's just a case of going around, cleaning it. If you do, spill a little bit, just wipe it off as you go. Unless it's in your hair, then you leave it to dry. Is all this getting coved? This side as well?
To be honest, I have to go around with a multi-story, crack it all off.
To fit it in?
It's a sound ceiling, the counter to the walls.
Right, I see.
Counter to the walls, why you see a pink foam around it.
Yeah.
You need to take the vibration off the walls, stop it going upstairs.
So you don't want me to tie into the wall at all? It's better staying away from it?
Yeah, you can stay away with that, you know, where
Yeah, okay. All right.
if you can. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter, just go around and sort it out afterwards.
Okay, right. So what Gary's saying is we need to make sure that we don't tie into the wall, because this has to be independent, because it's to do with the soundproofing. The ceiling can't be touching the walls and passing the sound through. He's just said to me as well, that side where I did tie it all in, he's had to go around the multi-tool and cut a channel right round it. In fact, I remember him at the time saying that I didn't need to tie into the walls, but I thought he was just giving me the option. And my OCD made me want to do it nice and neat, even though it was being covered over with coving. You don't have to work really quick if you just concentrate on what you're doing, try and improve your technique. So if you look, I'm not overlapping. I'll go to the full length that I possibly can, moving the trowel down so that I'm not going over what I've already done. What me and Lee and a lot of other plasterers do is we draw an imaginary line down the centre of the ceiling, and then we both work to that line. That way we're working the most efficient way, and I'm getting one half and Lee's getting the other half. And that's the first coat of plaster finished, or as far as we can reach anyway. Now, we're going to have a quick wash down, clean up, and we're ready to second coat. Okay, we're going to start second coating. We're going to use the same stuff to second coat it, and that way, this should hopefully set a little bit faster. If we mixed fresh stuff up, then it'll take longer to go off. So we can easily handle what's on, so this will be fine. Now, some people don't like you using the same gear to second coat with. They say, well, technically it's just one coat because it's the same stuff. I don't get the thinking with that. If you paint a ceiling and you give it 3 coats, but you've used it out the same tin of paint, does that mean it's only had 1 coat with that reasoning? So, no, we're going to give it 2 coats, but with the same gear. And this is the point where we could reach up to. We couldn't go any further because we didn't have enough scaffolding. Now, it's important to have a banter in work, but what Lee said next I couldn't leave in the video because it's a family show. The abuse he gives me, I don't know how he sleeps at night. He was basically just encouraging me to go faster. Me and Lee are old mates, we go way back. I think I've known him for approximately 30 years. And by my estimation, that's probably too long. Oh, cheers. Had a few jars last night, so... Now, there's a saying that my old fella always used to repeat to me, time and plaster wait for no man. And you can guarantee when the pressure's on a little bit, you'll get all sorts of people turn up to have a conversation with you. And you've got to politely say to them, I haven't got time to speak to you, I'm sorry. This plaster's setting, I need to keep going. It's not like other jobs where you can put your tools down and have a little chat. Whilst Lee's cleaning out, I'm just putting a bit of a trowel over its side for him. Mainly to check it really, just to make sure he's doing it neat enough, you know. You heard him? Is this a loft hatch?
Yeah, for a little person.
Who did he put up there? Because we're going to be blending in here, we're going to feather in. It's just important that we don't leave any ridges here. So as I'm doing it, I'm literally just feathering it into the board. It doesn't have to be a perfect blend because you're going to go over it, but what you don't want is bits like that, high spots being left to set. So I'm going to make sure it's nice and flat. So at this point, the ceiling's had 2 coats of plaster, and now we're smoothing over it for the first time. In this whole process, we've had no breaks so far. We've literally just gone one stage to the next without stopping. Right, should I have a coffee then, Lee, yeah?
Yeah.
Now all the ceiling's flattened in, we've got time for a little break. Give that 20 minutes down to pull in a little bit. Have a nice coffee. Gary's just been telling us, I didn't know this. The boards that are on this ceiling that we're going over, what, F1? F1s. F1s. I didn't even know they existed. Sound block boards, but the back of them is pink because the fire line board as well. So, an hour fire rating, did you say?
An hour.
7 kilograms heavier than standard sound block boards, so these are
46 kilo.
46 kg.
Yeah, the sound board is 39.
46. Fancy loading them up all day. You're alright. Glad somebody else did the board and not me. Now it's time to give this ceiling the first wet trowel. We've given it 2 coats, we've flattened it in. We're going to trowel over it twice and then polish it. We're then going to move all the scaffolding down to the next part of the ceiling, plaster that, and blend into this original part of the ceiling. Each time we go over the plaster, we're lubricating the ceiling with a bit of water first, and then that's helping the tools glide over it. We're closing the surface in, we're consolidating it, smoothing out any bumps and bringing the surface to a nice, smooth, flat plane. At all stages of plastering, people always want to know how much pressure to apply. So whether you're applying the first coat or the second coat, whether you're flattening in or troweling up, the best answer I can give you is apply as much pressure as it takes. If when you're smoothing over the ceiling, troweling up, and you can see that there's imperfections, you have to just press harder. Another thing that goes hand in hand with pressure is timing. The more the plaster's set, the harder you're going to have to press to work the plaster. But you have to take into account that you can't finish the plaster whilst it's still wet. It's a process of the plaster setting and you smoothing it out that it gets the nice finish. You've been over it all, Lee?
Still needs a bit more.
Yeah, it needs another one. Another coffee?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you've just seen there. We're trying to get the ceiling finished, but it's still too wet. So we're going to give it a little bit longer to set, and then we're going to go back over it again. And with a little bit more time, the ceiling will now take a polish. It's set just enough. Now, the idea of the polish, you're not trying to make the ceiling as shiny as possible. I just use this as one last check over to make sure that there's no imperfections. And now that the first 2/3 are finished, we're getting set up as quick as we can to get the final third done.
Get this on, mate, and we'll have one then, please.
The full bag.
Just about an hour and 15 minutes.
So it's like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Max.
Yeah. So what we're going to do, put 4 in.
2 bags.
Because you can, I mean, you're not meant to, but you can overdose it and go quarter time. You know what I mean? If you've got to do a little patch job.
And no time.
And you want to mix up handboards worth of stuff, put a full sachet of that in, and 3 minutes, it's finished, it's set. So.
Do an advert for like grill cream or something.
Do an advert for Chappy Dog's food. My face on the tin.
2 in for now, Kirk, is that right? And then
2 buckets?
yeah.
Okay.
Just so we're not having to jump down and get more bags.
You will know, yeah. It's going to be a fast one. We're mixing this slightly wetter only because we're aware of how much accelerator we've put in the plaster. The last thing we want is for it to be thick and then it starts to firm up really fast. So what I'm doing here is applying the first coat. Now, some plasterers call this laying on. Then, after this, I'm going to apply the second coat. And some fellas call that laying it down. Now, in between coats, if it's rough, you can smooth it out. We try to apply it as neat as possible so we don't need to do that flattening in process. Applying it neat means less smoothing out, which equals more efficiency. So the usual way of taking this from your board is like this, and squashing it off the front. To show you again, look, squash it off the front. Now I don't do that. I always take it like that. And the amount of fellas that call me out on it and say, oh, he's taking it off the board wrong, look, he's doing that, and he should be doing that, right? I'll show you the reason why. Because when you've got a bit of stuff on your board like this and it's wet, I can still do that, no problem. But if I try and take it there, that's what happens. Now, when you're talking about efficiency, the more material you can carry on your handboard, or hawk if that's what you prefer to call it, the less trips back and to the spot board or bucket you've got to make. The less walking back and forth, the faster the application. All these little tweaks and techniques are designed to speed you up so your arms don't have to go as fast. We're not waiting around, the second coat is going straight on. Now, you might be wondering, if we're not tying into the wall, when the coving's put up, is that not going to tie it into the wall because it'll be stuck to the ceiling and the wall? Well, what's actually happening is, it's going to have a little lighting trough above it, so the coving is only going to be stuck to the wall. It's going to look like this. This isn't mine, but every plasterer has got a brush that looks like that. You don't. There's still plenty of life left in that, guys. There's another 3 years in that. Oh, flip it. It's showing off. You've been splashing out. Okay, we're going to start flattening in now. But I'm going to start blending this straight away, so plenty of water. It's important that we get this seamless. Just give the blend a good wet down first. The fact that the other half of this ceiling has only just been plastered means that there's no background suction. Now, if this was the next day, I would have to wet that joint before even applying the first coat of plaster, so that the old ceiling can't draw the moisture out of the new wet plaster. Just feather it in, like so. I'm just going to continue doing that every time we give it a trowel. I'm going to wet it down and blend it in like that. And once it's finished, that'll be invisible. Some guys like to do a solid butt joint, and they'll use a bit of tape and peel it off and then plaster up to it. What you'll find is these are usually more noticeable. It all depends on the amount of aggregate in the plaster. The plaster we use is really fine, so feathering in is quite easy. But if you've got a coarse aggregate, like sand, then butting up is going to be your best option. This new setup of scaffold perhaps wasn't the best. I have to squeeze in and out of little gaps. The height, not ideal. It could have done with being about 6 inches lower, but the feet were taken off, and the only way to go lower would be to drop it down to the next staging. But if you're going to set scaffolding up for yourself, the ideal height for plastering the ceiling, you want the ceiling about 6 inches higher than your head. That's about perfect. Yeah. Makes your heart sink every time you step off it.
You know what? I've been pressing that button. I thought it was something else, and I've been switching it off.
You've been fiddling with it?
Yeah. Thinking, what's that for?
Messing around with the apparatus.
It's these cheap microphones from the pound shop.
Yeah, flip it then.
But yeah, seen some people die, yeah.
Got to get a move on, because it's 2:30. This is dragging on a little bit. We wanted to have this done for 2 o'clock, so. There you go. That blend now, absolutely seamless. You can't feel it whatsoever. Beautiful. That's it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.